Farm Basics is brought to you by the Liberty Link trait and Liberty herbicide from Bayer. The most reliable weed management solution, Liberty Link and Liberty herbicide are the link to efficient row crop production and sustainable weed management.
During our Farm Basics time today, I just wanted to talk, Darren, about, I get these questions from non-farmers that say, well, farming must be pretty easy because all you have to do is go plant that crop and then you come back about 6 months later to harvest. What do you do with all that time in between?
That sounds fun. Just try that on your garden at home. Just plant it, do nothing else to it until you're ready to go pick some fruits and vegetables out of there. Good luck with that one. There's all kinds of things going on in fields every day of the year, from weather conditions that are changing to bugs, diseases that could be present out there. There's all kinds of things going on, and farmers are just constantly out looking at their fields, making judgment decisions on, okay, should I put a little more fertilizer on here? Should I control this or that? Where do you want to start, Brian? There's just tons and tons of things that are going on.
Yep, well, to begin with, the most important thing is that farmers take a look at their fields on a regular basis. So because of all the things that Darren mentioned there, anything could pop up in the fields. There is a lot of management that goes on during the year. When a farmer is out there scouting, he is going to be looking for weeds, for insects, for diseases, for any other issues that could be going on with that crop. If it just doesn't look right, there are a lot of management steps he can take to make it better.
Well, that's the thing. Farmers are looking at their crop and saying, well, oh boy, I see a leaf on these corn plants that just doesn't look quite right. Why is that happening? And maybe there's something below the ground that's wrong. Maybe there's something above the ground, or maybe it's just due to the weather that we've had recently. So it takes a lot of experience to make the right calls, because many times when that happens, by the time you're seeing a problem on a plant, you've already lost some yield. And so farmers are not only trying to fix this year's crop, but they're making changes to their program for next year's crop as well, so they don't make that same mistake again.
Yeah, but one of the biggest challenges with farming is the fact that there is Mother Nature, and that's something that is beyond our control. So when you look at all these other factors that end up happening out in the field, they're heavily influenced by whatever Mother Nature does. So that's the whole thing is, well, is this just a weather thing, or is there something I could have done to make that crop better along the way? And most of the time there are things that a farmer can do to make the crop better, but every year, since it's a little bit different, you don't know if you've selected the right hybrid to put in the ground, if you've done the right thing in terms of weed control, because some of them work better in cooler conditions, others work better in hotter conditions. It really varies.
Well, I like how every year it's, well, this is a hotter than normal year. And if you say that to a farmer's likely to say, well, what is a normal year? I've farmed for 30 years and there's been no 2 years that are alike. Everything's a little bit different. Like this year, for example, we had all kinds of snow in April on our farm. So by the time we got ready to plant, it was May. And last year, we were all done planting by then. So it's just a completely different thing. Now, when you're planting in April, you've got some different concerns versus when you're planting in May. In May, we weren't worried about having another frost after our crop was up because, wow, we're almost to summer now before we even get started planting. Where planting early in April, that was a big concern for guys. Yeah, it's warm now, but it could cool off later on. So you had to adjust a lot of things you were doing with everything you do in that field based on that particular year.
So as crop farmers, there are a lot of things to take a look at during the summertime to make the crop better. But in addition to that, you also have to start planning for the fall and the next few years. So you're looking at things like grain bins and buildings and trucks and
crop rotation. You have an issue in that field, you say, well, wow, maybe I don't want to go back with that crop in that field. I'll have to change what my rotation was going to be.
All right, so along those lines, Darren, you also could throw in, let's say, cover crops late in the season, even when the current crop is still out in the field. You can seed in some cover crops by air if you want to. That's starting to get to be a popular practice around the country. There are just a lot of things. And so whether it's the wintertime or the summertime, farmers are busy year-round. It just depends on how much effort that farmer wants to put into his farm, how many acres he's farming, and how many things he's trying to do himself rather than hire someone else to do those jobs. But all I can tell you is from growing up on the farm and farming today, it's a lot of work. And some days you say, wow, this is just so much work to make all this go. But I mean, it is a lot of fun and it is rewarding in the end.
Well, it does become more work if you have our Weed of the Week. Can you identify this week's weed?